mountainside, sacred is the air. Sacred is the rattlesnake and sacred is the bear. Sacred are the summer nights when stars move around. Oh, 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 in my stomping ground, stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground. Stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground. Stomping ground has been here 100 million years. Built by rising ridge lines, canyon winds and tears. If you come here for the water or you come here for the wind, if you come here for the rocky ground, it might just let you in. But if you come here mindless and you are running scared, stomping ground will beat you down if you are unprepared. Stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground. Stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground. If you come to trespass, best be on your guard. For every ridge top you can see is part of my backyard. Don't think you can come in here and never make a sound, and I won't know you are in my stomping ground, stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground. Stomping ground. Hey ho, stomping ground.
It's just another movie night up in my room, and you're welcome to stay here. But all that I ask is that you keep me awake, 'cause I don't know what happened. Stand me upright, you're still by my side, and I don't understand it. 'Cause I lived through the days that you keep me awake, and your eyes start to wander up my sleeve. Now it's mid-September and I can hardly still remember what it's like for you and I to say goodnight. Blink, it's mid-October and I feel I'm getting older. Take me back to the first week of July. I held you and it blown my breath and I someone else. They'll stick to your lips when they're the first thing that you kiss, and that's the best thing that I've done with my whole life. September, and I can hardly still remember what it's like for you and I to say goodnight. You blink, it's mid-October, and I feel I'm getting older. You take me back to the first week of July. Hanging around, I think that we're feeling it now. Taking it slow, meet me wherever you go.
always fell back in place. Broken, busted, beaten, could never break the feeling in my chest that no one ever mistake. And every day I'm getting older, think the flame is getting colder, overthinking when I'm thinking too deep. But even when I think it's over, I find I'm even closer to what I want, but I know I can't keep. But ain't it obvious the forces keeping us? It really ain't a normal type of thing. We let the water flow and let the feelings go. We finally cut a new line for the swing. Don't mistake this for complaining, I just wanted to explain it, cause honestly I see we're surprised. Bad rebounds and waiting, I'd only end up faking the hope, I start believing the lie. And every time I try another, find a reason not to love her, finally betting that I'm better without. But just to say that I'm the winner when my bets are getting thinner, and double down the debts with the doubt. But ain't it obvious the forces keeping us? It really ain't a normal type of thing. We let the water flow and let the feelings go. We finally cut a new line for the swing. Obvious, the forces keeping us. Really ain't a normal type of thing. We let the water flow and let the feelings go. We finally cut a new line, a new line. Finally cut a new line for the swing. Hope there's beer up in heaven. Hope that Jesus shows me the way. I'll be floating on a white cloud, sipping on IPA when I rise above the sunset. Hope I can still work on my tan. I will sit and talk to Grandpa with a cold one in my hand when I get
Here we go. Here we
Whoa.
go.
We live.
heaven serving.
I hope that heaven's serving beer. It's a California grown band.
Are they local?
They're local, baby.
Wow.
Jesse.
Keep an eye out for them. That's some good country music.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite country music coming out of the North State belongs to Chad Bushnell. You've heard his stuff?
I've seen his stuff around. Yep, absolutely. Over at the rodeo and the fairgrounds and all that stuff.
Yeah, I just went to a songwriters night at Kelly's Pub that
Yeah.
Joe Bull put together, and
sweet.
Chad Bushnell showed up, and I've been like listening to his music, so he starts
Yeah.
playing, Whiskey to Work, and I'm just fanboying.
That's rad.
So I'm hoping to get him on the show. He said he'd be interested, but I know he's a busy guy. But he's also, man, he's just like a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a classic cowboy.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, we have a lot of those up here.
He's making jerky.
When you find out that there's even like backyard rodeos going down in like Palisadro and stuff, it's really cool. We have so much. There's so much cowboy action up in this town for sure.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Welcome to the Reading Sound. This is a fun live stream podcast, and we got Tyler Lockamy.
Great. What's up?
What's up? We got Amanda Casaria in the chat. She's already jumping the gun to ask some questions, so let them fly. We'll get to them as we see them.
Yep.
And man,
So cool.
this
is great.
We've hung out a lot, but
Yeah.
Once the Elephant Man ended at the end of February, you jumped right into the next one.
Yeah. I think I've in this last year, I think I've done like 5 shows at Axiom, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
And that's just Axiom. You were also over at Cascade Theater
Yeah.
playing in the Christmas show.
That was a dream come true. I mean, I got to do Cascade Christmas, which was like, it's one of the only stages, like kind of big main ones that I haven't played. And so being able to do Cascade Christmas was a lot of fun.
Yo.
As you'll see.
Check this out. This is a sweet photo of you. You on the stage in the green light with the blue hair,
The
baby.
blue hair, man. That stuff did not come out easily.
That doesn't look comfortable, but it definitely looks fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I had blue like makeup on as well, with more sparkles than I've ever experienced in my life.
More sparkles than a phantom in Rocky Horror.
Oh, huge. Yeah. I challenged all of them. I had so much. I even had like they had this like plastic stuff that I put on my temples that was it made it look like ice. And so you can't really see it in that photo.
Yeah.
That might have been, I don't even know. But yeah, that was a fun one.
There's also this one's similar. It was shot from the same angle.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pull photos up full screen off of Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
I have a photo of us on there too.
Yeah.
From Elephant Man. I don't want to go too heavy into the photo down memory lane because I kind of just want to. I don't really know what I want to do. You brought me eggs.
Yes. I see you give people gifts, and I was like, you know what? I have chickens that are giving gifts, and these are gold eggs. Back when it was, $6 for a dozen, I was like, dude, I have gold here, or whatever it was, $8 a dozen.
Yeah.
I was like, I have gold, and it's not just chicken eggs. So you can show them some of the chicken eggs, but they're duck eggs too.
Yeah. Let's take a look here.
Yeah. So, yeah, these
duck.
are two duck eggs.
And then this is your standard chicken egg.
Yep. These are some of my favorites. So
this is an interesting color.
right, like chocolate. It looks like a chocolate egg.
Yeah.
And then you have this one that's like a speckled. I don't know if you can really see that. You can kind of see like there's kind of speckle marks on there.
Yeah.
And I love, like, we get green ones. We get olive green colored eggs.
Here you go.
Oh, here you go. Yeah. So you can kind of see the speckles on there.
Yeah.
So they're like little freckles, little egg freckles.
And there's a whole bowl of them.
You probably have like almost a dozen and a half eggs there.
do I have to? Am I giving the bowl back? I expect I give the bowl back.
Yeah. I mean, put it in your own container. I mean, I brought you the eggs.
I recycle my cartons, man. Like, come on.
Definitely. I used to have cartons, and I'm not sure because we would sell the eggs. So we get literally like, I don't know, 3 or 4 dozen a week. And so I eat a lot of eggs. I eat probably 4 eggs a day.
Yeah. 4 eggs, one sitting, or like 2
Usually.
and 2?
Yeah. My breakfast is oatmeal and eggs every day.
I've realized that, like, because usually I used to be like, 2 pieces of toast, 2 eggs, and I would rock it like that. But at a certain point, I went with like the 4 egg route.
Oh,
and
God.
that's a good breakfast.
It's a good, yeah. And my breakfast, I'm very proud of it because it's something that I've shaped over the years. Is not your typical oatmeal. It is oatmeal, but it's just water and oatmeal. Nuke it for like a minute, makes it soft.
Yeah.
Put garlic salt on your oatmeal with eggs that are like kind of like a over medium. You break the yolk and then you mix it into the oatmeal, and you have this savory. It's amazing. And you put like sriracha on top.
To be fair, I'm quite tired of the classic brown sugar or cinnamon apple oatmeal. The typical flavors are nice, but I like I haven't gone savory oatmeal. I've gone like a nice.
You should try it. It'll change your life.
What are the different cuts of oatmeal? There's like
Steel cut, and then you have like regular Quaker.
Yeah,
You know, like I don't like rolled. kind of.
rolled oats.
And I just go straight Quaker. It's cheap. You can get huge bags of it for really cheap. And I just love it. And I do like, because I've been on really specific amounts of food.
Yeah.
So I do like 80 grams. I weigh it. And it's more oatmeal. It's so much, especially with 4 eggs on top.
And you get it all in there.
I get it all in.
and then you go and work the heck out.
Yeah.
Eventually.
3 days a week.
3 days.
Yeah. But no, it's literally like, it's my favorite meal of the day. I love it. It's my favorite.
Abigail Young says nice eggs.
Oh, thank you, Abby. I appreciate that. My wife is watching this too, so you know.
Tyler actually brought some eggs too, and I can show them.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I also brought you something that you weren't expecting.
Oh frick! I
So
kind of
this is
knew
a-
this would happen.
This is a
eventually.
very special egg. We get 21 of these a year. This I had to carry it very, very. I mean, it's basically like a concrete block, but check that out. Yeah.
This might replace one of my 2-pound dumbbells.
That's basically equal to 3 chicken eggs or 2 duck eggs. That is a goose egg. And we have 1 goose that lays eggs.
Oh, okay.
Put that in comparison with those.
Yeah. Let's do let's do
The scale is just like, you can't. So that's, you're grabbing a chicken egg.
We'll see our favorite freckled egg that
Yep.
we've come to know and love.
Yep.
And here is a
Yeah.
goose egg.
Yeah. And that's not a small egg. That's not a small chicken
No,
egg. That's like a large.
This is, you would buy like a jumbo egg at the
Yeah.
store, and you get this one.
Yeah. So that's just smaller than like an emu egg.
This is a little intimidating.
Not many people are like, do I eat goose eggs? Like, do I eat duck eggs? When Anne-Marie first had a duck egg, she was kind of petrified.
That's just like commercial conditioning, right? Because like
Yeah.
we've conditioned Americans that eggs come from chicken and
Yeah.
that's what you eat.
Yeah.
But it's much more than that.
These they taste exactly the same.
There's lots of birds trying to have babies.
Right. We should eat them all. That's what I'm saying. No, it's just we get 21 of those a year, and that's the first one. So
Well, thank you. I'm
yeah,
honored.
absolutely.
I'm honored.
Anytime.
Abby, you were a little early on the nice eggs. You
Yeah.
better follow up with a really nice egg.
Yeah.
Abby says, "Hell yeah." Amanda says, "Wow."
That's what I say every time. I'm just like blown away.
Woo.
Ooh.
Well, Tyler, I have a gift for you.
Oh, geez.
I have a gift for you, my friend.
Excellent.
And it's a special one. It's one. So there's a weird thing that happens in life, and it's, you know, sometimes you hear a song that sounds like it's 30 years old, but other times you hear that same song and it almost sounds like you're creating it, like you are the reason that song exists. And it helps when you play it over and over again. And Tyler, we have a song. You know what it is.
We both have a song. Yes, we do.
You know what it is.
Big black mama, keep on rolling.
Mississippi Queen, won't you keep on shining on. So
There's a whole backstory there, folks.
there's a whole backstory. But on one condition,
Yeah.
you'll receive this gift, and that condition is, as soon as your wife walks through the door, you gotta hit go on it.
Oh,
baby.
hell yeah.
You gotta
Hell
hit
yeah.
go on it.
You know this.
So
Yes.
we're passing off.
Yes.
We're passing off this Doobie Brothers record.
Best of the Doobies.
And it's the best version of the Doobies, which is their curation of all their favorite songs. So you get a bunch of bangers because the Doobies wrote a lot of good songs, and one of them is
man.
Blackwater that we just so happened to turn into like
Yep.
a meme, you know,
Yeah,
a backstage meme.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to fill them in on what that is?
It started with the Play That Goes Wrong.
Yeah.
The first time we
Yeah,
did it,
yeah.
which was in April
April of last year.
of last year. And I don't recall how the song came about?
It was just in the playlist that plays before the show.
Yeah, it was pre-show playlist.
And it was just one of those songs that just, it's an earworm, man.
Yeah. Here, we'll put it on.
Yeah.
Just because it's so fun.
Yeah. And it kind of helps you, you know, when you're backstage waiting for the show to go up, you know, there's just a lot kind of going on. And sometimes it's a good way to just get out of your head. And we found this song.
And you can find ways to get out of so many different ways to get out of your head.
Yeah.
A lot of individual ways.
Doobie Brothers found a few ways to get out of their head.
Hey,
Sure.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
Yeah. It just reminds me of being backstage, man.
Yeah. And
then-
so what ended up happening was, and just so you know, there's like a ducker on this. So when we talk, the music goes down. Which
Oh,
is cool.
sweet.
Even though we can't hear that. But it became a tradition right before the house opened. And man, we were kind of annoying. But man, we had fun at the expense of our other castmates.
Oh, they all started to kind of, they got into it.
They came around.
Yeah. Except for Sean Behringer.
Hey, hey, beefcake. This one's for you, baby.
Always.
Make everything all right. Let's see what we got here. It's Tomahawk and Prime Cut. Hello, my theater brothers.
Yeah.
Oh no,
He's
Sean.
in-
Sean
I'm so sorry. Sean, you're not supposed to be listening right now.
Aaron Rice says yes, and of course Sean says I'm leaving now. Annoying, but I still like you guys. See what I mean?
He loves it. I think secretly, deep down.
Oh, I know for sure secretly deep down he likes it.
Oh, yeah.
Beefcake. And at least I called you Beefcake. Tough cupcake. I really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out.
Yes.
Yeah, the backstage soundtracks. I actually started incorporating it once or twice into Elephant Man.
Yeah.
We brought it out a couple times during Rocky Horror just as a
yeah.
little jab.
Yeah.
And of course when we brought The Play That Goes Wrong back.
Again, yeah.
Again.
You got to recreate the same energy, you know?
Dude, now that we're talking about all these shows and this song,
Yeah.
I kind of want to touch briefly on kind of our experiences together acting, because it started with Rocky Horror,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Actually, I think it started with Play That Goes Wrong. I think that was our first show together, wasn't it? No, because you were Rocky the first year
Were you
that I was in it.
really?
Was I? Were you? I don't remember. Because this is my third year doing it.
You're coming into your third?
Yeah.
It was Brad. It was Brad both times.
Oh, okay.
It was
Cool.
Brad with
Yeah.
Michaela Duarte, and then
Sweet.
it was Brad with Haley.
Yeah.
But that was a fun show. We had little
man.
baked in bits together where we got to play off of each other. Hey
Yeah.
guys, thanks for tuning in. We got Tyler Lockamy here. I just see you coming up. I'm going to jump out of the conversation just to say hi because it's really fun to see you guys in the chat, and feel free
love
to
it.
say whatever you want.
And this is so cool. Like the fact that it's live and, it's like, it's so cool. It's just really, really neat.
It kind of holds us accountable.
Oh, yeah.
In some sort of way.
Yeah. It's also, it's all improv, It's like just chatting, and it's really fun. So actually having people kind of chiming in is really neat. I really like it.
Yeah, if ever there's like a lull, there's an opportunity to sort of, you can help us get out of that lull, and we can go somewhere
Yeah.
together.
No, it's awesome.
The beefcake acknowledges Blackwater, but that's it. So we did a little Rocky Horror together,
Yeah.
which was fine. It's hilarious.
What an
It's fun.
experience.
It's a romp. It's a riot. But I feel like when we really got to start sort of just like looking into each other's souls and taking those pauses. Musicals have a lot less pauses. They're kind of tracked.
Yeah.
The pacing is there.
Yeah.
But in The Play That Goes Wrong,
Oh,
we
man.
got, especially at the end there, when everything was coming to its conclusion, I just remember dying laughing. You'd come up to me just drenched in sweat and you would try and figure out what you were supposed to do, which was just frickin' die, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. Like that play, first of all, kudos to the group that wrote it. It's just incredible. It's such an amazing show. And I would say I've had some really, really great experiences on set, in theater. And it's just like it was so different from anything. And the latitude when you're in a show called The Play That Goes Wrong, the latitude there is so broad and, it's so well written that as long as you stay within those parameters, like nothing is off limits. It really just lets you go. And I loved it.
Every show was like, okay, can we make him crack this time? Huh?
Right.
Who can we make crack this time?
Yeah.
Definitely in Rocky with the callbacks and play that goes wrong amongst the cast. Oh, that's Anne Marie who said that.
What's up, babe?
I would always try and make like Erin crack when she was hanging out the window and we were like pulling her up the window. There was like times where I just, slap a little, throw a little this.
Yeah.
And man, we got each other sometimes, but for the most part, what's really interesting is if you go and see The Play That Goes Wrong and you see all the work we put in, I mean, it was a very naturalistic show.
Yeah.
We had it so dialed in. But those were just words on paper, and you brought the character to the stage. I brought we all brought these characters to life.
And everyone did such an amazing job. And each person was casted, I think, perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, Jet,
Jet.
as the bumbling butler was just incredible. And, Mike, being the director of the show within a show. God, man, everyone was just great. I just remember being so completely drenched in sweat by the end because I'm running around, the platform falling, all that stuff. It was just, it was a blast.
You were drenched and oh gosh, and I got covered in baby powder and water and spit and gosh. And the audiences, man, not only did that show sell well, but it was just uproarious laughter. If any of you saw that show, what a cool experience we all had.
And we took the field trip up to Ashland to go see it as well. And what a joy, man.
Prior to us even constructing the set, the set was a damn death trap. The whiplash in the window, yes.
Oh, man. Yeah, right.
But we went to Ashland. We went with all of the, actors that were cast and then our set designer, directors, producers. And we got to Ashland early. We saw the performance that evening, but before we saw the performance, Valerie at the cabaret invited us in with her set designers, and they showed us every single gag and trick and how they rigged it up for their show.
Yeah, that was something. And then I'll never forget. So we saw that before we'd even started constructing, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Like, because there's lines in there where my character needs to get up onto the platform. And so I was like, okay, cool. I see how that's going. And then we see it all go down during the show. And sweet, I just have like this idea in my head, right? And then when we got back to Reading and we're in rehearsal and it's being constructed, the set's being constructed, the platform, I can't even touch the top of it with my hands. I'm like, wait a second, like how tall is this? And Ken was like, it's 8 feet. I was like, but how am I? There's like I have to get up there somehow.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna drop. I'm like, how the hell is that gonna happen? And I just had all these doubts come flooding into my head. And then once it all got constructed and we did that first test of it falling, I was just like, listen, I want to see it work first, and then I'm going to put my weight on it, and then we can do this. But I'm not stepping foot on that thing until I see it work, because I was just like, how is this supposed to go down? And I think that whole thing, the set was just massive. And that just added to, I think as an audience, that would add to like, oh my God.
I've been
These
going.
people are in danger.
I can't wait to go see Beautiful, the Carole King musical. I did some
Yeah.
dramaturgy about a week before they opened. But I went in and I saw that, that massive upstage part of the set they have. And I was like, that's very cool. I was looking at a photo you posted when I was scrolling through your timeline. I saw like a photo of Cinderella with those trees out and the cool lights. But I don't think, maybe apart from Christmas Carol that was done at Axiom this winter, I can't think of a set that was just floor to ceiling, all encompassing.
And then it all falls down
And it all falls.
every night.
It all fell down and it all stayed together, or it was all repaired and we put it back together and we made it
What a
happen.
testament. I mean, yeah, Axiom is really doing some wickedly cool stuff. And I think, all the different theater groups in town are doing some really amazing stuff. Everyone, but, I think Axiom raised the bar. And, what you're seeing at our pack is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just went and saw 5 bridesmaids in the same dress.
In the same dress. Yeah, I saw
And,
that.
like that was really cool to see. And everyone's just kind of doing what is fitting their space. And it's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm noticing the same thing, and I'm just and with theater and with music, I hope we just continue having people that are raising the bar, and then as others who may not be raising the bar, that we one, don't take it personally, two, just like applaud the people that are kicking ass and pushing and raising that ceiling. And then just like collaborating, and there's like the saying, like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yep.
And
It's so true. And I think personally, that live theater is going to be more important than ever before, especially with, advancements in AI, because AI cannot do what the actors and what the builders are doing on set for theater. And there's that human connection that I think is insanely important. And I think it's going to be even more important in the future. And I just think live theater is where it's at. Live music, live theater. I think it's a huge thing. My background is professionally, it's in film, but, I'm worried about where that's going and how it's going to end up. So, I'm just really excited to see live theater really thriving. I think it's fantastic.
I'm glad you mentioned your background being in film. Abby says truth, I think referring to what you were just talking about. But I'm glad you mentioned that your background is in film, because we have you in here. We're talking about theater. But so, I mean, you've done a lot of acting. You've done acting in LA. Your background is in film. You've, put out a really cool movie, and you're in post-production on a very exciting movie that was shot and filmed here in Reading.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about that. And then also, everything else you got going on. You have a little farm at home. You brought the eggs to prove it. You're a diverse fella.
Yeah. I take on way too much. Way too much. That's where the ADD kind of kicks in.
You have 2 podcasts. You edit other people's podcasts.
Yep. I just produced my first podcast for a client. It's called The Leader's Playground, and so it's live on all the platforms. And I was really excited to be able to work with the artist on that, Irene Salter. She's a neuroscientist, and so she's breaking down how to make work feel more like fun and like what is going through your brain. And so I didn't know what it was about before I started. When she came to me, she kind of explained it, but I didn't quite understand. And then when we recorded 4 episodes in a day, and I was like, oh my God, like this is speaking directly at me. I'm like, this is like really amazing. So I'm just I truly do believe in, synchronistic tendencies in the universe. Yeah. And when you're doing stuff that is aligned with you, you're going to attract that to you. So the more art that you surround yourself with, the more art you're going to find. And so, I'm just very, very, blessed and lucky and all these things.
Every time I do this show, I have these moments where someone says something and it's almost like even though I was awake, I was asleep, and now I'm awake again.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, like that's the reason I'm doing this. It's like, so, because now we're here and we're talking about art and we're in it.
No, it's amazing. It's like, so yeah, it originally started. So my acting stuff started when I was like 16 or 17. I did a show here in town at Shasta College, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. It was a summer show out there, and that was actually my second one, but it was my first musical experience. And I got to play. Oh no, I was in Bye Bye Birdie out there. Sorry.
Okay.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarves was at Simpson, but that's where I kind of got my start, was a little musical stuff. And my dad was super surprised. He's like, I'd never heard you sing before. You don't sing in the shower. You don't sing in the car. The only time I sang was in church. And I think that's actually kind of where I learned. And when I was a church going fella, and it was just a wild experience. But when I was 20, 21 actually, I took a day trip down to LA, and I met this person that's kind of like a connector. So like if you're interested in getting into acting classes, they kind of set you up. So they set me up. I flew down in the morning, went to a couple different acting schools, got my headshots taken, kind of made it like a whole day experience, and then flew back that same night. And so when I got back, my mom was like, what did you think? I was like, I loved it. Like, it was really amazing. It was really great. And they're like, oh, you're going to do so well. And I was like, I gotta get down there. And she was like, you should do it. Like, just go. And I was like, okay. And so 2 weeks later, I moved to LA. I didn't know anybody. There was one guy that I knew that I was kind of like an acquaintance with. And I hit him up and I was like, I'm moving in 2 weeks. Like, can I crash on your couch? And he was like, yeah, I'm actually moving in with my girlfriend. And so my roommate,
She's going to love that.
She's going to love it.
Yeah.
But my roommate is going to be, he needs somebody to pay half the rent. And so I went down, and they had a 1-bedroom, and it was my first experience. I didn't go to college or, or like dorms or anything like that. And so it was my first experience like rooming with someone, and it was kind of terrible. So they had 2 beds in the same bedroom.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just going to sleep on the pull-out couch. But it was literally about as long as your desk. And I'm a pretty tall guy.
Yeah.
And so my feet would hang over the armrest. And I was there for like 3 or 4 months. And I was so excited, like being in LA, like driving by the studios and seeing it. It was just like, oh my God. And then I was in an acting class, and some friends from the acting class that I had made, over the course of like a month or 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, so, you should move to Santa Monica. I was like, I can't afford Santa Monica. They're like, no, crash on our futon. Like, we have a futon in the living room. You can come down, crash on that. Don't worry about rent. Just get on your feet. And I was like, wow, thank you guys.
That's good friends.
Yeah, because I was paying $800 a month to crash on this dude's couch, and I think his rent was like $900.
Oh,
so he was ripping me off.
You were subsidizing a guy for like a couch that was half your size.
Exactly.
That's absolutely insane. So you found this. You took up the Santa Monica offer.
Oh
Obviously.
hell yeah. I was dude on futon. I was DOF. That was my nickname. And after about 6 months, I saved up enough money, and they very subtly said, you need to move. Like, we need our futon back.
Yeah.
And so I rented an apartment, and it was, and then I was kind of off, running on that. So yeah, it was a great experience. Started kind of just getting into the doldrums of working down there, and was not pursuing as much acting as I should have been probably. And, but then ended up meeting Michael Ryan, who's now my business partner.
I was going to ask you, like, we're talking about like acting and classes and stuff. And okay, cool. Yeah.
So that was another guy in my acting class was like, my buddy wants to shoot this little kind of like 5-minute little short. So today and tonight, and do you want to be in it? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he's like, he wants you to be in character when he meets you. And I was like, okay. So I'm going to go up. This is my buddy Jay saying, I'm going to go upstairs and get your costume, and then you can change downstairs and then come up in character. I was like, dude, we're doing this. Like, this is real Hollywood. And walked in, and Michael already had the camera. It was like a little DVX, and Panasonic, and we filmed this really cool thing where I'm like this mercenary, and it all has ties to the Dresden Sun. And so, which is still, and so we end up taking a drive over the, there's a big bridge that is in Long Beach that goes over the port where all the big tanker ships come in with all the boxcars on it and stuff. And we pull off to the side, and I've got this like replica Desert Eagle on me, and I'm driving, and we're gonna switch camera angles. So we pull over to the side, kind of in like basically one of the gates to go into the port. And obviously this is post 9/11, so they have a lot of security. And then I realize, so a cop car pulls up behind me, and I realize I don't have my wallet on me. Like it's in my clothes back at the apartment. And here I have like a Desert Eagle on me. It's a replica. It's not real. But I'm like, oh shit. And the cop car just like flashes its lights, and I wave, and then I drive off, and they just wanted me to move. And I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? I almost got arrested. Yeah. So all those years later, now we're in post-production on the Dresden Sun.
And you had, and even before post-production on the Dresden Sun, you had the Interpreters.
Yep. Interpreters. That was our first feature-length film that we had made, and we filmed it all up here. And that was our first one. We utilized every connection we could possibly manage.
Yeah, I love the stories about that, and there are some overlapping stories for the Dresden Sun too, like finding a cool car in a parking lot, right? And just being
Tesla.
like, being like, hey, can we drive this Tesla?
Yeah, in 2016, he'd written this script, and it had a Tesla in it, like a really nice one, blacked out windows. And I'm like, oh my God. And this is during pre-production. Like we had a set date that we were filming. And so this is pre-production. I'm like, where am I going to find, and I'm wearing all sorts of hats. Anne Marie and I wore the majority of the hats up here. And so I'm finding locations. She's helping find locations. We're finding vehicles. And so I was like, man, where am I going to find this? And where I live now, there's a Shell, it used to be Shell, gas station. I saw this Tesla parked there multiple times. And I was like, that must be the owner, like their car. So I was like, all right, here we go. So I walk in, I was like, who has the Tesla? And they were like, oh, that's Tony and Janice. I was like, are they here? And they're like, yeah. And so I sat them down and explained to them what we were doing. I needed the car for 5 days, non-consecutively. And so it'd be a huge impediment to them.
Crazy inconvenience.
Inconvenience. And long story short, they were just like, yeah, go ahead. You can definitely take it. You can drop it off here when you're done with it. And one time we accidentally left a shotgun in the back. And so
a replica?
No, it was a real shotgun. And so I was like, guys, I think I accidentally left a shotgun in your trunk. And so we had to go back and pick that up.
Anne Marie says, in the dead heat of Reading summer.
Oh, Jesus. It was 115 degrees. And what's crazy is we had actually also a written into the script, we were going to build a rain bar. So rain bar is where you can replicate rain and very controlled. And in the middle of summer, it went from 110 degrees to like 75 and storming for a straight week. And that week were the days that we needed the rain bar. And we scrapped the rain bar before. We were just like, well, it's just not going to rain.
Yeah.
And so we got rain, and we got shots that looked like just amazing. And only once did we have to go down and get a pickup shot, and I had to take a hose, and they had it was at a restaurant, and they had the bib right there that worked. And we just went down and ripped off the shot. And so we just took a hose, sprayed it up in the air, and it looks like rain. And that was the only time that we had to try to replicate rain.
I love that.
Yeah, it was just like the cinema gods were like, we want you to make this.
Pouring rain. It was great.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to everyone who's tuning in. This is actually the most concurrent viewers I've ever had. So thank you, Tyler, for any influence you've had on that. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm doing this thing called the Reading Sound, and there's a couple of reasons why I'm calling it that. One, we're making sounds in Reading. We're talking into microphones. But two, like my dad and I always kind of talk about the San Francisco sound and the bands that came out of there, and then the Seattle sound and all those famous bands. And I just see Reading growing and popping, and I'm just so excited to see what comes out of here and becomes mainstream and unique in its own way, native to this area. And I think a really cool thing that's coming out of this area is the Dresden Sun. And I'd love to kind of hear where that's at, because you guys have been in post for how long?
We've been in post for 1.5 years. So our first film, Interpreters, we filmed it in 2016 and we released it in 2020. It took us 4 years to get it, done. And that was because every film, so that film and then Dresden Sun, this will tie in, they're just big movies. So Interpreters, we made that for barely over $100,000, which is nothing. And it's like this sci-fi movie with monsters and stuff. And our technology that we had at the time, like the computers and all that stuff, it's not as good as it is today. And so what we're doing today is equally as difficult, but for a different reason. It's just much bigger. And so, we put as much money on the screen as possible so that you're going to see the money spent, rather than, sometimes, post, it can be very, very, very expensive. And if you spend money on it, you can get it done quicker. So what we're having to do is a lot of it on our own. And so
keep the money on the screen.
And, Michael and I were talking the other day about the fact that Beowulf, it's a movie that came out in 2006. They had 1,300 special effects shots. And a lot of it was because the actors were painted over and turned into a CG asset. So you have real backgrounds with CG actors, but they actually filmed the actors, but they had to go in and match all of it and cut it all out and replace it, right? Our movie has 1,500 special effects shots. So, it's just big. And so we just have a lot going on there. But it's looking really, 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 really good. And I'm very excited about it. It's looking amazing. It's incredible because it's a cyberpunk sci-fi movie that we filmed in Reading.
There's some things that you've told me about it in past conversations that are really exciting, like the way you've utilized like Twitch streamers with large followings, and you found ways to sort of weave them into side of the like LED screen or holographic advertisements. There's just so many cool things that are pulling in from so many different places. I'm really stoked to see it. Real quick, my friend Rachel Beck said, "You did so great as Jack Frost in the last Cascade Christmas, man. I love that show."
Aw, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. That was so much fun. And being around like 30, young people, it was a lot of energy, but man, like I was just in it. Like I was just so enthralled and so proud of what they're doing. 'Cause it was not easy. It was a hard rehearsal process, learning all the different numbers, and there's a lot of songs. They were little studs. Like they just killed it. And I was just like the focus that they had. They didn't have their cell phones on them. Like they were learning, they were dancing, they were singing, they were just super in tune with what was going on. And it was just really, really, really cool.
That's great for like the future too,
Absolutely.
And cause and I feel like you're probably not even saying that like in a blanket way at all, because you know kind of what it takes. I've worked with you and it's cool when the kids put the phones down and they're present. And we're doing theater, man.
Yeah, and it's just really cool. And you know, talking about the stuff that Reading is creating. It's like, you know, I hope that they go off and pursue stuff outside of Reading and then bring back what they've learned and teach it to the next generation.
That's my biggest hope. That's kind of what I've been doing, going down to Boston with Jacob Akana band.
Yep.
Holy smokes, man. I learned a lot of music things, a lot of like production recording things. And I'm not staying there. I brought it back and it's in my head and I'm going to share it. And I felt the same way. Like I've thought about, you know, like if local theater here is a launching pad to professional theater and we're going to approach it professionally, I'd love to see some people go off to Oregon and play at the Cabaret or the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. And I'd love to see them, you know, come back as well.
Yep. Yeah. And same thing for me on the film side. It's like, you know, I had a dream when Anne-Marie and I moved up here. I was like, man, I want Reading to be the Austin of the North and the Vancouver of the South. And I see Austin as kind of like this music mecca, you know, maybe it's more Nashville right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like this musical influence. And then Vancouver's got theater and film. And I'm like, man, if Reading could be this intersection of that, and it can be. I mean, Reading is being remade. It's being re-envisioned. And I think it's up to us to, you know, help that along. And, you know, for me on the film side, one of my biggest, something that I'm you know, proud of is that I think we were able to show what is possible in Reading. You know, Dresden Sun is the largest film ever produced and filmed in Reading, you know, for its entirety, you know, and it's like, I just want people to know that it's possible. And with having, you know, there's plenty of equipment here in town. There's, you know, there's talent here in town. You can also fly people in from LA. That's what we did, you know.
It's like an hour flight.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could have the best people possible right here, you know.
Yeah.
And the cost of you know, locations and all that stuff is really cool for smaller indie productions. It's just, you know, the production value is really high up here. So, you know, I'm really, really happy with that. And when Christina Ricci says, how much would this house cost? You know, and I'm like, man, probably about $1 million. And she's like, that's it. And, you know, it's right on the river. And, you know, she's got a family. And I think she's like, you know, not totally digging being in LA or New York. And it's like, this is the place to be, man. Like, it's a really great place.
I had this crazy thing that happened, and that was going to Boston. Did I go to Mike's pastry shop? I didn't. You
didn't get a cannoli?
I really just went with the flow of the band. We saw, now don't get me wrong, we saw a lot of sights. You know, we did Boston Commons, Boston Gardens, walked the Freedom Trail, went into Newberry Comics, probably walked past whatever pastry shop you're talking about.
Probably has the longest line in Boston.
Yeah, I probably was like,
yeah,
moving on.
You get the cannolis from there, and it's just like, yeah. I think that's Mike's, right, Emery? Mike's with the pink box. Yeah, she's the one. Tell
the ride home with Christina. Oh, the ride home.
Oh,
that's a damn good story.
Yeah, did I tell you this one?
Yeah.
It's like 2:30 in the morning.
I'm already laughing.
It's like 2:30 in the morning, and we're at the convention center, and so we're, you know, she's done, and we're all done, and so I fire up the car and turn the heater on, and I just kind of pull up where her house is, like the general area. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. And then I put it on, you know, like direct me there. And so, but I knew where I was going. And so I'm, you know, just trying to do some small talk. She's taking her makeup off and she's sitting right here. And I'm like, so how was the day? And I'm kind of keeping my eye on the thing. And you know, she's talking, we're just small talk. And I get off, I jump onto I-5 and I get off at Twin View, and actually no, we had taken 273 north, and so I kind of get off at the Twin View area there, and I turn and I'm right at the stop sign to Tractor Supply, and I'm like, wait a second, because I knew she was down in that area.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, it's telling me to turn around, and then I just had this flash of, oh shit. I'm going to look like an idiot. And so I was like, oh, hold on one second, Christina. And so I was just like, I thought you were on, long story. I was like, I just thought you were on this side. And so I was like, okay, no. Okay, it's telling me to get back on I-5. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so I get onto the on-ramp of I-5 South at the Tractor Supply right there, Twin View. And it's telling me to turn around again. and I was like, oh, crap. So I stop on the on-ramp. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. Just hold on a second. So I reverse down the on-ramp.
I forgot about the reverse.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you think I'd know where I was going. And she's like, yeah, I thought that's why they had you drive me home because you're from here. And I was just like, yeah. And at this point you could tell like she's tired, and there's very specific SAG rules, the union rules about when they're supposed to be home. And there's a reason why you leave set at a certain time because you're like, okay, it's only 10 minutes away. And so, pull up to her Airbnb and I was like, all right, have a good night. She's like, thank you. But that was humiliating. Yeah, it was terrible.
So for any of you who are driving Christina Ricci around Reading, just maybe do your map quest, put it on the window, get your
really
iPhone
know
here,
where you're going.
use the Maps app, have your Google Maps, and maybe Android has like a special map application.
Yeah,
What a trip, dude!
That was a trip. Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that was fun, but we got her filmed and all of her stuff is just amazing. And it's really interesting when you're working with a pro, someone that's been around the industry for literally their whole life. And, they just have a method of their madness where at first you're like, oh my God, like what is going on? And then you watch the playback and you're just like, oh, it's brilliant.
Wow.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference when you're working with someone pro compared to someone that kind of does it for fun. There's just a massive difference.
Yeah.
It is palpable.
That's wild. How does somebody who is doing it for fun that wants to become a pro take that leap from fun to obviously a pro?
Experience. So it's a matter of, acting classes, working on your craft. I recently heard Alan Rickman saying that acting, he had an actor saying like, how do I get into acting? And he's like, at that point you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But it's that acting is a cumulative thing where the more you experience, the more art that you take in, the more people you meet and converse and have real conversations with, the more shows you go and see, the more experience you get on the set, no matter what it is. It's cumulative, and your body, your soul sucks that in. And when you are then either on stage or you're in front of a camera, you're going to take all of those cumulative experiences and infuse them appropriately into the character, and it's going to come out. It's like if you are only locked in a living room your entire life, and now you have to go play a Daniel Day-Lewis character, it's going to come across very different than if Daniel Day-Lewis does it, because he actually spends his life learning things, and it's cumulative.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And so if you want to be a professional, it is getting experience. It's doing acting classes. It's being on a set, learn how a set works. And then it is, experiencing life like to its fullest.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here, guys.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie says she was a great sport, though. Christina Ricci, super sweet, and she takes her job seriously.
Oh,
so
God,
professional.
Yeah. It was, it was there were no frills. It wasn't like she was there to hang out. It was, she's here to work. She's going to be here for 12 days, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And she's going to do her job, and you're going to get what you paid for, and she's going to go home and go to her next job, which happened to be Tim Burton's Wednesday. So when we were filming, we got a notice that someone wanted to come onto our set. And this is during COVID, so they had to be tested. It was going to cost us money. And we were like, well, who is this? And it was Tim Burton's costumer. And so, Abigail was there.
Yeah.
And Tia, our key costumer, was there. And it was just like this huge thing. And Christina complimented both of them, especially Tia, by purchasing her costumes that she used for the film, because she was like, these are great. And yeah, and Tia made those. So I don't know if Abby, if you made those as well. But yeah, it was rad.
Yeah.
So cool.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. And that's wild because now you've been editing, clips of Christina Ricci and the rest of the cast for a year and a half, and she's already gone on and recorded.
She's been nominated for 2 Emmys already now, and and that's kind of lucky. I was like, just don't kill anybody and don't get thrown in jail. Where we can't release this.
Like
thing.
how bad would it suck if like one of your actors got canceled right before?
Oh man, it would be really, really bad.
Yeah,
it'd be really bad.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing good on time. We're at like 4:50.
Oh yeah, we're doing good.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
I feel like we've been talking for hours.
Yeah, I know,
my friend.
We're getting into it. Yeah.
So after this, you're headed off to rehearsal for the next play that you're in.
Yep.
Baskerville, a Sherlock Holmes mystery, which should be, and it's a comedy, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's a British farce.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. So when I got into my last night after rehearsal, I got into my truck and I was like, man, it's kind of bizarre because I'm almost, I'm Sherlock Holmes in this, and I'm like the straight guy, and the other guys and gal get to be the super funny. And so I feel like the third wheel almost, in some ways.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to figure out how to make it, just blend a little bit for myself. And there are certainly moments, and, we're not even off book yet. So it's like, you kind of find those moments when you're off book where you don't have this thing in front of you, and you can kind of, what I call discoveries. You get to really play and make these discoveries. And so I'm very excited about that. But man, Jocelyn, Danny, Nick, Mike, they're all so funny in this.
Yeah, every single I saw a photo. I'm not sure if it's been released yet.
Yeah.
But it's that photo of you guys all lined up. And I mean, if you're familiar with some of the local talent, you'll recognize a face, if not all of them. Yeah. For me, it's all of them, and I'm just like, that's the team. Yeah. Holy crap, we're in for a ride.
It's amazing. Yeah, and they each bring their own, unique processes, but also just the characters themselves. So Jocelyn, Danny, and Nick have to play something like 50 different characters
between the three of them. And so it's super fast. And if anyone is familiar with the Axiom stage, it's huge. Yeah. And so I'm just like, I just get to sit back and be Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. And Mike's your Watson. Yep. Mike's my Watson, Mike Spence. So do you two remain, or does Mike have different hats too? Nope. Yeah. Mike is just Watson all the way through. Yeah. New director to the Axiom Theater. Richardson, right? Yes. She's the daughter of Vicki Richardson, who's played in shows at Axiom before. I've been in shows with Vicki Richardson. I just haven't met her daughter. Yeah, she's great. She's really in full control, which is fantastic. Cool. So, and it's also different too. At Axiom, typically the way that the rehearsals go is you show up and it's all right, let's get into it. Let's start running. And, Emma was like, we're going to do a little exercise before rehearsal. Oh, nice. And so we do 2 fun exercises, and it's amazing how that kind of, and it brings me back to, acting classes down south. And because they know, it's like you're bringing all the crap of your day, and, the theater is supposed to be a place where you can
suspend all of that stuff. The outside world doesn't matter. It could literally be a nuclear holocaust, and we're just in there working on our thing.
Yeah.
And so any way that you can, get rid of the weight of the day, it's a really cool thing. And so she implemented that, and it's really cool because we automatically, and being a comedy, we automatically just start with laughter, and just banter back and forth.
Yeah.
And she gives a lot of grace in that, and she lets us just kind of get it all out of our system. So that way, when we get into it, now we're in it, and it's really cool. And she's got very specific direction, which is really great. And she also lets us play too. So.
Yeah. I think that's gotta be the I feel like the perfect balance would probably be a blend between, your director giving you direction and also, trusting that they cast the right person that's going to bring, bring it to the table.
And she got the short end of the stick in some ways because she wasn't able to be part of the casting process.
Right.
So, and this is kudos to Axiom for wanting to bring in a director from outside, and through a series of events, no fault to anyone, just kind of life, when you're trying to put something together months and months beforehand, stuff happens. And so the first couple directors didn't work out. And so Emma stepped in and, with the cast that she was handed, and, I hope we can make her proud for sure.
I think you will. I'm excited to see it. It's been really fun kind of taking a step back from like working on a lot of shows to just kind of, carving out my own time, doing my own thing. And, I provided a little bit of help with Beautiful, but I still haven't seen it. I'm going on Thursday.
Yeah. So good.
And I'm excited to see your show. And my first experience with that was like seeing The Tempest. That was a show that I didn't work on. And it's crazy when you spend so much time in a theater. For me, I couldn't imagine a reality where I showed up and felt like a patron,
right, and
got to just become immersed in a show and not think about everything else. But it's been happening more and more.
Isn't it cool?
And I love that feeling. I love putting in the work and being a part of a show. But I think the reason I love it so much is because like I went and saw Dropkick Murphys in Boston.
Yeah.
I went into this venue and it was just, there was a couple times where I stopped and looked around and took in the whole venue and was like, wow, they really got a good thing going. But before I knew it, I just, all of my thoughts were just out the window and I was just a part of this crowd rocking out with this band. And there's something so nice about just letting go and experiencing a show, and I can't wait to do that with Baskerville, man.
Yeah, it's Anne Marie and I went to see Beautiful last week, and it was just great. It was just great, seeing so many people that you've either worked with or that you've seen before in shows, and seeing them have so much fun, and they're so filled with talent. I told Lizzie in a little Facebook post, I was just like, we were sitting in the back and, looking down, and I could feel some tears starting to well up because I was just watching, my friends do this, and, and I caught myself. Then I was like, why would you catch yourself? And it's just like, this is a beautiful thing. And there's nothing to be ashamed about that. It's like just taking it all in.
I did some dramaturgy, just kind of providing feedback about a week and a half before they opened. I cried. Yeah. I cried, man.
Yeah.
I cried. And
it's a beautiful show.
And when I gave them their feedback, I was like, here's a couple things to think about.
Yeah.
But it's a really good show.
Yeah. Well, and Lizzie, man, not only does she look like Carole King, she sounds like Carole King.
She sounds like it. And like, there's something that's been happening in these past few productions, and it's starting with like Sylvia, I think. You see Erin Sullivan and all of a sudden she turns into a dog.
Yeah.
And I think with the Elephant Man, I had people tell me, after you transformed, we couldn't see anything else.
Yeah.
And same thing with Beautiful. Like at first I'm like, oh, she's playing like baby Carole King right now. Cause it does a huge timeline. So she plays from a child essentially to like a full grown adult. And I was like, it didn't take long before I was like, oh, she's just Carole King through and through.
Yeah. And it was just really kind of incredible to see. Just really, really awesome. I was blown away. But you know, it's like sometimes, you know, this would be my third year doing Rocky, and sometimes I'm like, I got to see it once beforehand before being in it, and I'm like, gosh, man, I wish I could see the show. I'm just in it, you know.
Yeah, man. Oh, so many shows I wish I could have seen. I wish I could have seen The Play That Goes Wrong. Man. Yeah. One of these days I'll see a Rocky. I sent my I'm coming back text.
Yep.
Did you send that? Did you say you're coming back?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you scared me. All right.
I just wanted to. I figured there was a moment there for some, you know, interesting bits. Yeah.
Oh,
hell
boy.
yeah. No, Anne Marie and I are both coming back. So I wouldn't give up riding a motorcycle on the stage for nothing. Yeah.
Oh man, I love wearing undies. I love starting in a suit and becoming more and more exposed.
Yeah.
And
what a show, man. That was the first show where the audience participation is so rampant that the first time, like, coming out to do a scene, I was like, oh my God, like, this is intense. And yeah, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
It looks like Beefcake's coming back too.
Yeah.
And Anne Marie as well. And
Yep.
honestly, gosh, we could probably talk for another hour just about Anne Marie, but I'm sure
You got to get her in here.
Yeah, we'll get her on here because you guys are like the hardest working, coolest couple I've ever met, man. Y'all don't
Trying.
quit.
Yeah. Just trying, you know.
Just when I think you guys have, you know, like Tyler's working on the big movie. Well, then you're also, you know, and like, you know, Anne Marie is directing her first show. Okay, well now it's the second, and now there's a couple more coming.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and we just, you know, we take on quite a bit, but it's because, you know, we really care, you know, we really want to do some stuff. What did she say?
She said, if anyone is just now tuning in, that's a weird thing to walk into. I love my undies.
I love being in my undies. I've never been so happy to not have to be in my undies. I don't have to, except I get to wear fishnets.
Yeah.
You know,
dude,
that's my moment.
I've had this crazy thing that's happened, and I don't think it's too crazy. You do enough theater, I come home and start looking in the mirror, and I'm like, I look better in makeup, and I want to incorporate this into my daily life. Same thing with the fishnets.
Eyeshadow.
Same thing with the heels.
Yeah,
I'm
why
like,
not?
Damn, I look good.
My calves look fantastic.
when you do the for
Yeah.
the thrills. Oh,
It gets a big
baby.
cheer.
Yeah,
Which, you know, it's flattering. It's makes me feel good for sure.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's moments like that where I like to slip out of character a little bit and be like, yeah. No,
It's the type of show that, you know, kind of allows that a little bit too. No, it's a blast. I'm so excited. Yeah, and we have some, you know, talking about other, you know, big things that we're trying to get into. I was hoping that I could really get into something like really big.
yeah, you mentioned that a week or two ago.
But I can't. So that's going to have to be another thing that we can talk about another time. But it's it deals with film in Reading. So I'll give you that.
Okay.
Yeah. And just trying to, you know, my biggest goal is to make film another, you know, instance where people can really come together here in town, and just really trying to do more of that. And I'm very excited about it.
I look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. As I know, the IOF Hall, they're going to be doing some showing movies and stuff upstairs.
Yeah, they're turning into a film house up
and
there.
I think it's rad.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. It's like one of my passions is weird movies. Yeah. And I've shown you a few.
Yeah.
And the collective reaction that makes me feel so good is when I find something and I'm like, dude, you got to see this. And it's so bizarre, but yeah, I think you're really going to like it. Because I like movies that give the person that just watched it a reason to text their buddy and be like, holy shit, bro. Like, this was wild.
I don't know the amount of times I heard the name Greasy Strangler before I eventually clicked on it, but it was like okay, something's up here.
Yeah.
Something's up here. Maybe I should click on this movie.
Yeah.
Finally did, was blown away, and now I find myself telling my friends, and they're like, yeah, maybe I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And I know eventually they will.
Yeah, and you know when they're gonna watch it
and
too.
then it's immediately
'Cause you're gonna get a text message.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a text, and they're gonna be texting their friends.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many of those movies. Another one. Did you ever watch Butt Boy?
No, not yet.
Bro. Butt Boy is it is a cat and mouse detective serial killer movie. If you can't tell from the title,
It's going on tonight. I'm telling you.
you have to.
I'm telling you.
And it's from a guy also named Tyler Cornack. I'm not obsessed with him or anything. I just really appreciate the guy. But their whole thing, it's called Tiny Cinema. They have a whole, kind of short film series. And then Butt Boy, I think, was either their first or second feature film. And it was amazing.
It says, no, don't get Tyler started on that.
Oh yeah. No, it's too late, babe. It's too late. We're talking about it now.
We're talking about Greasy Strangling. We're talking about Butt Boy.
Yep.
And we're talking to Tyler Lockamy on the Red and Sam, baby.
Boom.
We're in downtown Reading, and life's good. I got to kick this fan on a little higher.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
Gets a little toasty in here for sure. It's getting to be that time of year,
It's
Yeah.
almost time to start bringing out the shorts and the tank tops.
Yeah, it's that weird time where it's like, is it still cool enough to wear pants? Is it too cold to wear shorts? So
And if you wear a sweater, chances are you're gonna wrap it around your waist in the middle of the day.
Yeah. And do you want to look like that?
Do you want to be the guy with
Yeah.
the
Do you? No.
And what if your sweater has pockets that you use
Right.
for functional stuff? It's like,
Yeah. I gotta have places to put my things. For sure. Yeah. I'm very guilty of that. Usually I have bulged out pockets and
yeah.
and Marie's like, "What are you doing?"
We gotta get man purses back in fashion.
I have
handbags.
I have a fanny pack that I make go over my.
That's the way to
like a
do
sling.
it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That's actually kind of in right now.
I look cool too when it's on.
I wish you had brought one. We look pretty cool in this little box here,
Yeah.
my friend.
No, this is great. Nice new setup there. The center,
Yeah, got a
Center
little
shot.
filter for my friends.
little pop
The
filter.
pa.
Yeah.
Hey, I have some kind of some news.
Yeah.
Oh. I have a guest for tomorrow.
Yeah.
My buddy Jordan McLaughlin's coming on, and he
Sweet.
plays in a local band called Self Doubt. He also plays in a local band called Bird Feeder with Danny Lindberg, I
Wow.
believe. And so they played a long time ago, and they're just getting
Yeah.
back together.
Hell yeah.
And then my newest guest that I locked in for next week on a Wednesday is going to be Zach Zeller. And I'm super stoked about Zach because
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fanboy. Like I've listened
Dude, they're
to
so good.
I've listened to a lot of Bell to Beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine he'll play some songs on here and stuff too.
That's gonna be rad. You know what sucks being in so many plays is that Friday and Saturday nights are bogarted, and I can't. I'm not going out, man. And so, anytime I see bands I really want to see, like my buddy Roman is One Soul, the reggae band.
I was listening to One Soul just
Yep.
earlier today.
Yep, they're rad. We went to high school together, and he's always been playing music, and to see him still doing it, it's it's rad. And
One Soul's
but they're always
awesome.
playing on a Friday or Saturday night, and I'm usually in a play, and they played Friday night at the Dip, and I totally forgot. And so I'm like, now I'm not going to be able to see him probably for months.
Dude, this song just, I can't get enough of it.
Their drummer is amazing. So good.
Yeah, that's actually kind of probably the grooviest part of this.
The double bass.
Just so you guys can see what we're looking at. This is the most recent music they put out, but they have a lot more to listen to. They have 2 albums and an EP.
determination will satisfy your needs. And when you found what you need, don't give up. You got
Yeah.
It's so good. And you know what's really cool is that you can tell when you hear a One Soul song. Like Roman's voice is so unique. You know, it reminds me, reminds me of like Slightly Stupid.
Yeah.
You know, these really wonderful North Coast guys. And I'm like, I mean, you know, it's just rad. It's so cool. I'm just so proud of them, you know, doing it for many, many years.
So you're friends with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but you know, if I see him, of course. My high school, my graduating class was 55, and he was one grade below me, and their class was like 60 something. So it's like there's not a whole lot of people in between us, you know.
Yeah.
And we played football together, and Roman's always been
that's
a
like
cool
a
guy.
really small class.
Yeah, 55.
Where was this?
Bishop Quinn is in Palisadro. It no longer exists. My high school doesn't exist anymore.
I didn't know.
Trying to get transcripts, I was like, wait, how does that work? And then because it was a Catholic high school, the diocese is in Sacramento, so you have to call the diocese, and they have my transcripts if I ever needed them. So
what a
bizarre.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
My graduating class was about 100, and the classes around me were like 80 or so.
And that was in Weaverville?
Trinity High.
Yeah.
And in elementary school, my
Wow.
class, my
Yeah.
8th grade class was like 30 people.
Yeah.
And so then we moved into this funnel where all the elementary schools went to
Yeah.
the high school, and it went up to about 100.
My 8th grade class, I went to a Little Country Christian. And you know, life is funny. You know, you start, if you live a good life, you know, you start here just like any good performance or good play. You start in one spot and you end up somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
And sometimes you come to not a complete circle, but like you kind of circle back to some semblance of what you kind of grew up with. And so life is really funny like that.
You feel like you've come full circle to a little country Christian.
You're
from back now.
I went from crying that my friend smoked weed in a I was in a youth class, like a Sunday school or whatever.
Yeah.
And we had this like little sit down, and I was like, my friend's guy, he smoked pot. I don't even think I think I said marijuana.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as I went through LA and all that stuff, I went more agnostic atheist.
Yeah.
And then
it'll do it to you.
I discovered Joseph Campbell, who is the author of The Power of Myth and Hero with a Thousand Faces.
Oh.
And he's a comparative myth professor, but talking about the power of myth, like why did myth come about, and what is the influence in modern, like today? And all stories are these mythological arcs. And whether you look at you know, the story of Jesus or Buddha, you know, they all have the telltale signs of the hero's journey.
Yeah, the mythos.
Yeah. And you know, and then you start to think like, wow, they actually do serve some good purpose, but they've certainly been perverted, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, but there's a reason why these stories have lasted for millennia, and why so many people latch onto them. And it's because these are universal truths that it's a shame that people kind of push them away, because it's like, oh, it's Jesus, like, oh, that's Christianity. It's not that's not my cup of tea. But if you look at the story, which it's just a story, but within the story, it's telling you these universal truths. And, you know, it's not original, but it's telling you, if you want to be treated well, treat others well. If you're afraid to pursue your life's path, so was King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table looking for the Holy Grail, you know. But how did they go about setting off on their path? And you look at these stories and you say, man, maybe I just got to buck up and push through this, you know, these hard times. And because everyone experiences hard times, and, you know, some of us get to achieve what we're after, you know, by pushing through.
I remember when my dad said, "Hey, let's do a production of Godspell."
Yeah.
And this is when I was probably in high school. You know, I was like 14, 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. And I was like, I wasn't really into religion at that time. And he was like, this isn't about, this isn't like about Christianity.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't about, and he's like, we're just kind of like talking about these like parables, these stories. We're just kind of like telling stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then it was the best show ever.
Yeah.
We were experiencing all these emotions, and you know, like using the Bible as just like kind of like any other book.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. It's like, you know, I kind of view like you know, a religious zealot the same as it's just the same thing but the opposite as an atheist, because they're both saying for sure that something is real or for sure something isn't real. I'm like, those are they're the same thing, they're just opposite. And I'm like, somewhere in the middle is probably where you're right, you know. And it's like, find that middle ground and don't cast aside this old wisdom passed down. And you know, so that's where I was saying, like, it's almost a complete circle, but I'm not back to where I was, but I've rediscovered the power of, you know, kind of spirituality in a way.
Thank you for bringing it back to that, because I kind of was like, oh, where
is this going?
Where did we start? Yeah. We basically almost came back full circle there.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got probably another like 15 minutes for you before we wrap up. So any questions? Did anybody write any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple, and we kind of touched on some of them early on, just indirectly.
Yeah.
But let's see here.
Hey, and this actually segues perfectly to, I came up with a funny little word of the day, and I mean, not funny, but I chose the word preparation because that's kind of what I was thinking about when I thought of you, and even the fact that you're coming in with a question or two lends itself to preparation. I think preparation is just like a really important thing.
It is. Yeah. No.
I can't imagine anybody arguing against being prepared.
Being prepared? No.
Like I love the people that say like luck is like when preparation and opportunity meet.
Yeah.
Like kind of saying like luck isn't really real. These people that are getting lucky, an opportunity showed up in front of them and they were prepared and they made it happen.
It's kind of like it took us 15 years to get Dres & Son produced, and if you do not have a project that you've worked on and honed to be the best version of itself, and then, you know, we got lucky that someone was willing to finance, a group of people were willing to finance this thing. But if you don't have a thing, you're not prepared, and you meet these people and they're like, what are you working on? You know, and you don't have anything, you've just blown your chance. I was told a story where it'd be like, you know, when you're in LA, you're at Warner Brothers, or let's say Universal, and you walk into the elevator and Steven Spielberg's there, and you guys kind of hit it off, you know, and he says, man, you know, I really like you. Can I get your card and you'll get in touch with you? And you're like, I don't have my card, but you know, and he's like, okay. And then ding, the door opens and he walks out. He says, don't worry about it. I'll link up with you. Your opportunity's gone.
Yeah.
You know, your luck just ran out.
Yeah.
You know, you were not prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And on something like this, I figured, you know, put out the call.
Yeah.
It's like, you need things to talk about. It's like, I've done podcasts before, and it's like, it's nice to be able to have something that you can just kind of.
I love when you did like incorporated like AI into it, like AI generated questions and stuff like that too. I thought that was
I did
really
a whole
interesting.
Q&A for myself.
Yeah.
It was Chat GPT and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad GPT.
I thought that one was a blast. And actually, while we're talking about it, before we get to these questions, couple of things that you're working on.
Yeah.
This is a fun podcast you have out right now.
Yep. The other one that I was working on kind of took over time, but also I deal with, you know, my own insecurities, my own lack of kind of sometimes follow through on certain things. And so, you know, the last one I think I put out was in November.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like, I'm also trying to figure out, like, is this the direction that I want that to go? you know. So I'm just trying to play with some ideas and trying to figure out, like, you know, what am I doing, and how am I going to make this work? And like, I can't just record another one off the top of my head, because then it's going to be like that. And I don't want to just interview actors and directors.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes I just get too much in my head, you know?
Well, because I know, like, and I get really in my head about this.
Yeah.
But I know that what you put out inspired me to kind of, you know, get the ball rolling and just doing something, because it's like I would put on just like listening to you, like being like I think this last episode I was kind of listening to it just a second ago, and it was kind of like, welcome to an episode where I'm just
winging it,
right? And
yeah,
and I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, obviously maybe not every time.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
like whatever. But
Yeah.
But I'm certainly glad you've done it. I've loved listening to everything you put out so far.
And I have people that I want to talk to, you know, Sky Elabar from Greasy Strangler. I recently talked to him about a different project, and I was like, man, I need to have him back on, because I had probably 15 episodes from our first run back in 2021, and I had some really cool people, and I kind of want to bring some of them back, because I have some follow-up questions I'd like to talk to him about.
Yeah.
But so, you know, I just got to get out of my head and put it up, because I have a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, can't wait. And you also have the Ding, which
Yep.
I'd love to.
And that's another one where I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the direction of that, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, can I incorporate it into Hollywood is Dead instead?
Yeah.
You know? It's a lot to try to follow up on. And, you know, I like building out, like, the social media stuff for Hollywood is Dead. And I have a little merch store. So I was able to get hollywoodisdead.com.
Sick.
Which I was like, what?
Yeah.
And it didn't break the bank, which was sick. So I have some, you know, some hoodies and hats and tank tops and stuff out there, which, you know, yeah, it's kind of cool. So if anybody out there wants to check that out, please do. You know,
yeah, check out the show.
helps pay for the hosting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let me see here. Okay, so I got questions from Amanda, and apparently Amanda's the only one that cares. So, you know, I'm not trying to blame anyone out there, but
no, it's true. It's true. I do this show a lot. We get a lot of different folks coming in. Amanda cares.
yeah, I think it's rad.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. You have to have those super fans.
Yeah.
You know, we have one that for the film for Dresden's Son, we have this actor. His name is Linus Roach, and he's been around forever. He played Bruce Wayne's father in Christopher Nolan's first Batman film. So gets shot and killed. Yeah. You know, spoiler alert. But like cool guy. But he has like a fan club down in Brazil. And so, and anytime I post anything about Linus, they're just like, you know,
They
on it.
swarm it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they repost it, and you know, it's just really cool. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I appreciate the support. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. It'll help out the channel. It's only like a matter of time before something happens, and you know, once you hit 1,000 subscribers, you're able to monetize. And if at any point I start making any sort of money from doing this, the first thing I want to do is give back. It's why I give gifts on the show all the time. I like time's a very like interesting thing, and I want you to know that I value your time, man.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I also value all of your time, and so please subscribe. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're giving away a guitar, and I want to figure out ways to give away more stuff. I also want to incorporate some sort of call-in kind of stuff, maybe even just a call-in where you like leave a voicemail, and then we can like screen them and play them and talk to them. There's fun things we can do, but I just really appreciate you guys being
I
here.
think it's so cool.
And hanging out. Yeah, Sean, getting stuck in your own head, the deadliest sand trap to creativity.
Oh, man.
we gotta get out of our heads.
Yep.
You get in your head to have the idea, but you don't. Before, you know, like even doing this, it was kind of like I had the idea and I was like, am I gonna let this be another one that just
Slips away.
I'm like,
Yeah.
hell no. Let's make it happen.
I mean, that's the thing that separates a creative person from a successful person is like creative. God, man, we have so many great ideas, and my wife has heard all of them. and there's only a couple that were acted on, and like I view those as success.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just it's just doing more. But that's kind of why I like reading about like Joseph Campbell and the myth things, because throughout humanity, we've basically been able to discover basically all the different conditions of humans and the wisdom that they've been able to impart in ways. It's just so important. It's like, why reinvent the wheel? Like,
we've done a lot of work,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, as humans, it's like, gosh, man, we've done so much, and this is not unique. Whatever you're going through is not unique. It might feel very isolating, but then you figure out, if you go out and talk to people, it's like, oh, they're all going through stuff too.
That's what I learned in my my sociology class in college. Our teacher was like, every unique thing you're feeling, even if you're like being hit with money struggles, she's like, you're part of a group. You're part of a percentage of people that are actively experiencing very similar things to what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not telling this to like strip you of your like uniqueness and your identity, but more to let you know that you're not alone in your struggles, and you're not like alone in your successes.
Yeah.
And sort of getting us back into.
Well, and see, that's kind of what I was kind of wanting Hollywood is Dead to kind of turn towards a little bit, is that it's meant to discuss that, like for creatives specifically.
You get in it.
Yeah.
You get into it, man, which I really appreciate. And you provide examples.
Yeah. So now it's about interviewing people again. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. Cool.
You got,
Yes.
Do we want to do an Amanda question?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. The first one, let's see here. I'll do the first one. Tell us more about your other hobbies and interests: farm life, fitness, hosting students. Oh, that's cool. Actually,
damn good question.
That's a great one. Yeah. So the farm life, kind of touch on that. It was a quarantine farm. We had like 8 or 9 chickens before the whole quarantine lockdown thing, and then we ended up getting something like 15 new chickens. We ended up getting ducks. I think we had 9 ducks right off the bat. So we added our flock was something like 30 birds.
Yeah, that's a lot of birds.
Yeah, we ended up getting 2 goats, and they were just pets. There's no milk, nothing comes from the goats. We just feed them. They're just pits. They're pits of hay eating money pits, basically.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting Lulu, our mini pig, and thank God she was actually a potbelly pig, and she's stayed nice and compact, but she probably still weighs about 120, 130 pounds.
Ooh-wee.
And sweet little thing. And so we've actually added to the farm over the last few months. So I think we're still at about 30 birds. 6 of them, I think, about 6 of them are male. And so the rest of them are egg layers. And then we added 3 goats, 3 mini goats. Oh, she's got it.
10 ducks, 25 chickens.
That's what we started at.
Geese, 2 goats, and a pig. That's where you started.
Yeah. And so recently, we added 3 goats, 3 like little Nigerian dwarf goats.
Yeah, I'd seen them.
Super cute.
Yeah.
They just yell for food. It's kind of ridiculous. And then we got 2 more potbelly pigs. So we have Large Marge and Cookie. And they came from previously they were a petting zoo attraction.
Really?
So
probably,
they're super chill.
Very chill.
Way more chill than Lulu. Lulu gets a little aggressive if it's not me. Like she'll kind of lunge at you.
Yeah.
And so I have to warn people. But these other 2 are just so sweet.
Do they all get along? All the pigs? No. So
we have them separate.
The 2 get along, and then Lulu's like.
Yep. But they're right next to each other, so there's just a fence separating them. Yeah.
I think this that's cool. So it started during quarantine, and it's sort of it's stuck.
Yeah.
It's stuck.
Now, it's just kind of our thing, and
because not because, but in addition to you not having kids, this is these are little things you take care of, and then you also have done, as per the question, like foreign exchange.
Yeah. So in 2021, we hosted our first foreign exchange student, and we actually hosted 2 that year. And Misa and Melissa. Misa's from Israel. She's from the Palestinian side of Israel. And then Melissa is in Germany. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did your Israeli from the Palestinian side, is she back there?
Yeah. So she doesn't live in Gaza, thank God. But so she's in Israel kind of proper. But I mean, there's just so much going on over there. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And we're really excited. So both of them are coming out this summer. So it's going to be rad.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, this is great. Melissa's going to come out first, and then Misa's going to come out, and then they'll be here for the summer, basically.
Yeah, and Anne Marie's kind of taken on again, you just need to talk to her, but she's kind of taken on a role facilitating some of that work.
Yes,
I've
so
noticed.
she works as a what do you call that? Kind of a counselor or a coordinator.
Yeah.
So trying to get families to figure out how to take these kids coming in.
So if you're interested in
Please.
in providing a home,
Yep. It's a really wonderful experience. I think a lot of, and these are families too, like not just, a husband and wife with no kids. They actually integrate really well. And our experience was that there's a certain amount of, like real gratitude that you feel, and and with them being here, and you get to learn about their culture. We learn about, or they learn about ours as well. And they're just excited to be here, And I also, I told Melissa when she first got here, I was just like, you really lucked out. Like you could have ended up in like Ohio, in some farm town, or, you could have ended up in, not that it's a bad thing, but like Happy Valley being, 35 minutes outside of town. And it's, you really lucked out being right here,
Yeah.
Plus we're pretty cool people. So
yeah. Speaking of cool people, hey, Don Potter.
Grateful Don.
Yeah, we're up to 10 hearts today.
Woo.
And the sun's kind of coming down through the clouds now. It's beaming in here.
So
but yeah,
cool.
we're up to 10 hearts. Just why not? Just be full of love?
Yeah.
So I was ready to ramp this sucker up to 10 hearts, man.
Hell yeah.
Because I love you, man.
Likewise.
I love you,
yeah.
man.
This has been really, really wonderful. It's I love what you're doing. It got me thinking too. I'm like, ooh, this is a cool little setup. Like I need to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really once I can show you all the routing.
Yeah.
It's really not too
Not crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really neat, man. Yeah, it's great.
I think the last part of the question was actually kind of about like your current like fitness regime right now.
Yeah.
Because man, you've been working hard.
Hard.
I mean, we talked about your morning breakfast, but we didn't really talk about
so
where you're at.
over I would say like through quarantine, I kind of maintained a healthy weight, and then once I got out of filming of the movie, anytime I think you're creating something really big and your brain is just, there for 8 weeks, and then stuff that goes on afterwards as well, like that weight can kind of just bring you down. Like you might experience this after a show, like, there's just a decline. There's a depression that happens because you've been in such a high vibration for so long, and there's nothing to fill that void.
Yeah.
And so I plummeted into kind of not like a dangerous depression, but it was just food and drink. And I started to really, I still remember having thoughts of like, man, is this is just me now? Like my body, it's just like, this is me. Like that's sad. And Anne Marie and I both talked, and we're just like, we got to invest in our in our health. And so we started working out right below you, actually, at CalFlex here in Reading. And it's been absolutely transformative. It's been one of the greatest things that I think that Anne-Marie and I have done together, being on this journey together. And I'm down 60 pounds. You know, I'm in the best shape of my life. I haven't worn jeans with this waist size since probably 8th grade, and just feel really good. And I'm not killing myself doing it, you know? And it's like, yeah, I'm not hungry. I'm kind of hungry right now, but that's just because I haven't eaten.
Yeah, I'm
in a
also
while.
hungry. I'm gonna
Looking at those eggs, you know?
Yeah, guys, you want to see my breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah.
If you're late to the chat, we're eating eggs, baby.
Yeah.
We're eating lots of eggs.
Yep. And the big goose one too.
Yeah, the big goose.
But yeah, so it's been a really great experience. You know, Cal Flex is they're bodybuilders, but they're not like Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilders. They're physique guys and girls. And so they just focus on, you know, what you would typically call vanity muscles. So, you know, abs, chest, shoulders, arms, back. And it's not about lifting huge amounts of weight. It's just looking good and feeling good. And that's it. And eating right too. And they've been an incredible positive experience.
Yeah, if you want eating right tips, I feel like Anne-Marie's been posting pretty regularly.
Yep.
Delicious look, and like good looking meals. It's not like you're
it's
eating,
more food than you would typically want to eat.
you're not eating
Yeah.
poorly. You're eating well.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
And you guys look good. So
Yeah. Getting there, you know?
that's a good question, just to kind of know that like it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, you like if your body doesn't feel good, that's not necessarily your life.
Yeah. And that was kind of a shocking thought to have, like, gosh, like this is my new body, like, ugh. And then, you know, a few months later getting into this program and totally changing it around and seeing the scale go down, and it's amazing what that does to your mental health. It's really amazing. And I'm you know, just very grateful to have a body that works. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's like
I'm
that's
hap-
something that we take it for granted
I'm
sometimes.
happy
as
for
well.
you, man. Yeah, because our bodies, that's what we're using.
Yep.
That's what we're using
Yep.
to get around.
I'm getting to the age where I'm like, I got to start thinking about my old man age, you know? 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
it's like, you know, it's like for me, I was 278 pounds at my heaviest. When I did the first round of Play That Goes Wrong, I was like 260 pounds. And I could feel every pound of it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God.
It's crazy looking at photos from the first year and photos from
Yeah.
the second year.
Yeah.
Because the first year, I mean, I wouldn't have thought a damn thing. I was
Yeah.
like, that's Tyler. That's
Yeah.
how he looks. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I never even thought like, that's a big guy. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, it's Tyler.
Yeah.
And then the next year comes around, I start A/B comparing the
Yeah.
photos. I'm like, oh, crap.
Holy crap. Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, Anne-Marie says, we need host families for incoming students this August.
Yes.
Such a cool experience. Don Potter, miss you too. It is cool, and I loved having you on, Mr. Grateful Don. If you haven't heard the episode with Don, go back, check that out.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we got some good ideas here. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like, old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I got
Yep.
you, Don. I got you,
Yep.
Don.
Sweet, man.
Well, I think it's probably about time to get you out of here.
Yeah,
You
I got to go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah. How lucky are we? Just bounce from one art thing to another and one creative thing to another.
I'm going to see a dress rehearsal of Percy Jackson at the
Boom.
Cascade.
Man, I'm jealous because you just get to walk right there.
Yeah, I get to enter through the side door or
It's so
something.
cool.
Yeah,
That's rad.
part of the theater coalition,
Yes.
downtown theater coalition. So we're
Yeah.
all sort of
Yep.
coming together.
Yep.
which is
That's
cool.
another thing I'm in is the media coalition.
Yeah.
So that's all, you know, content creators, podcasters, social media, filmmakers, photographers, you know, any sort of media. So we meet the second Thursday of every month at the IOF. If you'd like to be a part of it, I would really encourage you to hit me up, and I'll put you on our email list and make sure you guys get the schedule of that. And it's really cool, you know, meet other creators in town. We kind of pool together resources